Hi class, I'd like to welcome you to this session of ADMS 3660, Business Ethics. What I would like to do is kind of explain to you and answer for you some of the most frequently asked questions about the class, so you kind of have a heads up going into this session. So first and foremost, because there are so many different places that you can get information as we transpose the classes and move them through the various years, I would like you to understand that the course outline that I have posted on the e-class is the final word as far as dates and times are concerned. Now, if there are any inconsistencies between what's on the e-class site itself or in the PowerPoints, please understand you defer to the course outline. And if it still seems confusing or doesn't make sense to you, because anything is possible, so please just send me an email, and if I see there's an error on the course outline, then I will happily post a correction for all of the class. In the course outline, you're going to be able to review and see what you need to do in order to complete the course. I've also given you a number of very detailed rubrics that explain the forums and the final project to you. So you'll understand how each aspect gets marked and what you need to therefore do if you just simply download those or open up the rubrics and read them through and try to understand them. And if you don't, again, you can definitely email me or ask me, whatever works for you. The course is designed into weekly modules, and it kind of takes you through a journey. The first part of the course is, of course, an introduction to business ethics, what the major concepts are, what does a business ethic mean, how do we deal with it. We've also built the course around the idea of diversity and inclusiveness of a broader partnership. So that's a concept you're going to have to grasp from the beginning. It'll definitely be discussed so that you get it. And then the latter part of the course is the application of the principles that we learned in the beginning to the specific partners that you'll be introduced to in the course. Now, if you are having a problem getting any emails from me, it means that I do not have your correct email address. If I don't have your correct email address, I cannot correct that. You have got to get in touch with IT and have them insert the correct email address for you, since I don't have access to that database. So I can only send emails to the database that I have. Another apology, I only understand English, so sometimes if you're using a script in your email that is not English, or if you have your name is one name in your home country and another name here in Canada, it's just wiser for you to use the name that you registered at York University with, because my database is only going to have that name. So if I get a different name, I may not know who you are, and you will not be a top priority for me to respond to. Or you may even end up in the trash folder if you're using a script that I don't understand. So please, if you can adjust that, that would be helpful for you. So I think that's a good general intro. Let's talk about the marking. So there are three components to this course. There are 5 quizzes. There are 2 forums, which are basically short essays, and there is a final group project. So the quizzes are reasonably simple. You basically, each quiz is going to be conducted online. You will have 6 questions. Each question will be worth 1 mark. So by the time you have finished doing the 5 quizzes, you have a total of 30 marks. Each question will come from one of 4 sources, which I'll explain to you in a moment. They will either be multiple choice or they will be true or false. Now, the 4 sources for the questions are, first of all, the PowerPoints, which are basically like handouts as far as this course is concerned. The textbook, pretty basic. The readings that we've assigned, all of them. And the class lectures, whether they are recorded or live. So those questions are drawn from those areas. Now, in addition to that, because they're online, what has happened is the question banks have, I guess at this point, about 400 or 500 questions in them, and they are randomly shuffled in terms of answers and questions. So hopefully what that means is every student gets a different quiz, to write. So it's not the same 6 questions for each student. And certainly the answers will be randomized as well. So hopefully that security measure will protect the integrity of the marks at York University. So those are the quizzes, pretty straightforward. The second aspect are the 2 forum essays. So as I said, they have a rubric. Please read the rubric. It's found at the bottom, I believe, of the e-class, because it's going to answer many more questions than I can answer in this short intro. What you will essentially have to do is you're going to be asked a question. You're going to have to post a very short 300-word response to that question. And then the rest of the class has an obligation to review the responses that are being presented and offer their comments. So then what you do, you need to do that about a week before the assignment is due, so you have a chance to get the feedback. After you've gotten the feedback to your original post, you will then reflect on those comments, and you will then write a slightly longer essay. I think it's about 500 or 600 words. That is a reflection on what the posts said, the feedback that you got, plus your initial post. And then you will submit the original post, no more than 2 feedbacks. So if you're giving feedback to a student and you see they have 2, please go to a student that doesn't have any and perhaps give them some feedback. And then you'll put the reflective summary, and that is what you submit. So just to repeat, you submit your original post, no more than 2 feedbacks, and a final reflective summary. And those will be marked, and the marks again will be posted. Usually takes within a week to 2 weeks that all of those are marked. Then the final component will be a group project, for which there is again a rubric, very detailed, very self-explanatory as to what is required. Now, the final project has really 2 components to it. There is what the rubric discusses, the group project, the case, but there is as well a peer evaluation. So I want you to be sure to read the rubric, as I said before, and remember that the peer evaluation is also being evaluated, and that you can understand how they interrelate with each other by looking at the course outline. It's explained very clearly there. The groups are going to be randomly selected by myself, and I will email you the group that you're in to the email address that I have for you, probably around the fifth module. If you don't hear from me by the sixth module, then please email me as soon as possible, and I will connect you with your group if you weren't put into a group, or you're going to have to correct your email address with IT services. The first job you have when you find out who is in your group is to connect with each other and select a group leader. That group leader is going to be your liaison with me. So if in your discussions something in the rubric doesn't make sense, or you have a question about any part of the group project, you'll give it to your group leader, and the group leader will contact me, and I'll discuss it with them and try to explain it to them. Now you can appreciate it kind of makes sense for me to have one conversation with one group leader than having 6 or 7 or 8 students emailing me, all with exactly the same question, all from exactly the same group. So please, number one job, you have to select that person. The next thing you have to do is figure out a schedule that works for everybody to participate in the meetings that you're going to have, probably 2 or 3 meetings, I would guess. And finally, the group leader is going to be responsible for handing in only the group project. The peer evaluation is going to be something that each student is specifically responsible for. Now, with regard to the group topic or the issue, I'm just going to give you a bit of advice. The more specific you can be with your project, the issue, the topic, the easier and more successful it will be for you to do the project. Why? Because the more specific the topic is, the easier it is for you to apply the principles that we're going to be talking about to that topic. If you pick something very, very general, like this company isn't honest, or something very broad, it's going to be much harder for you to apply any of the moral standards that we're using, any of the examples that we're using to the case. So the more specific you can be, the more successful you'll be. Okay, let me talk a little bit about the peer evaluation. First of all, please, double please, do not think that the 20 marks on the peer evaluation are some kind of gift that York University allows me to give the students. It is a serious evaluation, rather, of your ability to distinguish the truth of the peer efforts that are being made. You have to have the ability, if we're going to have this inclusive idea that we're going to be talking about in the course, you have to have the ability to distinguish between the different members of your group, how much they are contributing or not contributing, and what kind of efforts they're making, and why you may even think those things. So we are measuring that integrity and ability for you to evaluate your fellow team members. And I will adjust any peer evaluations where everybody in the group sends me in, this was the most perfect group, everyone gets a 20 out of 20. There are no perfect groups. You need to understand that there are no perfect people, there are no perfect skill sets. It just doesn't work so far on the planet. So you have to apply a certain integrity and honesty and transparency to what you send in. However, you must also understand that because you're being asked to have this integrity and honesty, these peer evaluations are not public documents. They will never get posted. The marks don't get revealed because they are your private evaluations of what's going on in your group. So you don't give them to your group leader to submit on your behalf. You must submit them individually by yourself on the deadline date. So it's a one-page form, pretty easy to do, but please understand that that is the responsibility of each student and not the group leader. Okay, just a little bit of a, I guess, a bit of a summary. Well, so you'll have three sources for the class that are in written format. You'll have a written textbook, you'll have written PowerPoints, and you'll have written readings. In most cases, sometimes it's a YouTube. In respect of my lecture, whether it's recorded or live, I am trying to integrate all of the other forms of media that you're being asked to use and make it understandable to you. So I'm not going to read sections out of a textbook. I'm not going to read sections out of a reading. I'm not going to read PowerPoints to you, because at this level, each of you, I'm pretty sure, can do that, and you don't need me. I, on the other hand, am going to try to give you an overall understanding. So I'm going to use stories, I'm going to use my own business experience, I may use videos. I'll tap into a lot of different ways to explain the concepts that we're talking about, so that you can then apply them in terms of either the forums or the final project. It's very important for you to enhance your learning if you ask questions. Now, you can ask a question by email. I will make myself available to you, and I'll explain that in a moment. You can ask a question whether it's in the middle of a lecture. However you ask the question, you are enhancing your learning. This has been statistically evaluated by 500%. Yes, I said 500%, by simply asking one question in that particular class. So it's a worthwhile thing to do, and it will be very helpful to you. And please don't be shy. I know that you may think that you don't have permission to ask questions. In my case, I give you 100% permission. Ask as many questions as you want, because not only are you helping yourself, but I promise you, you'll probably be helping the other half of the class that didn't ask the question. Okay, so as I said, don't expect me to be reading excerpts from the book. There are some additional limitations that I just need to conclude with, that you need to understand, because we are now including more technology in the class. For example, when you do the quizzes are timed. There's no ability for you to change that timing. Once you move past a question, you can't go back and answer another question. So it's true, you're not getting a midterm exam with 50 questions. You're only getting a short quiz with 6 questions, but you don't have the ability to go back. So you have to be thoughtful in terms of what you write, and following the time limits that are given. If you have technology issues, if you have location issues, those are your problems, and you must resolve them now before you start the course, so you don't get caught losing marks, and I don't get an email saying, I submitted the wrong document. That's too bad. If you submitted the wrong document, that's what's going to get marked. I couldn't make it in time for the quiz. Well, there's a big window, a couple of days, and if not sometimes weeks, for you to do the quizzes. So there's no excuse for that. The internet wasn't working. There, as I said, there's a big window in which you can do the quiz. So those are going to fall on you, and please understand that there's no point to the email. because I can't resolve it for you. I finally want to tell you that, again, as I'm encouraging students to ask questions, either during the lectures or privately, no problem. So what I've done is I've created some virtual office hours. They are on the course outline. You can email me and I will arrange a time to meet with you by FaceTime or WhatsApp or a phone call, whatever works best for you. If you have a number of people in the group that you feel would like to benefit from a group discussion, again, we can maybe arrange a Zoom session. You know, whatever works. I'm trying to make the material as easy for you to digest and understand. But you need to make the effort. That responsibility falls on you in order to make the effort to make that work for you. Because, you know, obviously, if I don't know you're having a problem, I can't resolve it. So my very best wishes go out to you. I hope you have an amazing semester. I hope the content of this course makes a difference to you and that you're able to use it in your ongoing career and apply it and make a difference to the world. And I just want to wish you the very, very